CONCACAF is down to its final 3 rounds. We got the jerseys on, representing our squads. And it's down, essentially, to 5 teams. Canada, USA, Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica.
That's it.
Canada up top, clear from the other teams in quality and in the point. USA, Mexico tied at 21 points. Yeah. Panama right there underneath them. And then 19. Costa Rica right there, just waiting for someone to mess up. So obviously the headliner of this next cycle is the match that is going to be played at the Azteca between Mexico and the USA. Round 2 of this matchup coming off of USA's classic 2-0 defeat of Mexico. Both teams find themselves with the same point tally, but also just not fully convinced of what we've seen on the field. Mexico, as I've stated before, I think could just be playing better. Not even that. I think they could field a better team. I think they could be better managed. I think they could be an overall much more motivated squad.
Right.
Instead, we have a team that's lackluster, that's been able to grind out results, but usually comes down to pure individual talent.
Yeah, low-key boring.
And low-key boring football. Yeah. Stagnant football.
Stagnant.
USA, on the other hand, has some really good peaks, has some really good highs.
Yes.
But then we'll show moments of lapses and concerns and things that worry you going into this major tournament.
Yeah, bad game management. They've lost way too many points where they should not have.
I think an overall sign of just inexperience, because with how young the team is just a classic flaws that are shown in a team like that.
Exactly.
Regardless, though, these games are always heated. These games are always back and forth. Both teams tend to show up for these matches. And so I'm really excited. I'm really excited because despite what I've said about the Mexican team, there's always that element. Maybe it's just associated to Mexico, or maybe it's just an element as a fan. They could just turn it around all of a sudden. Yeah. They could just figure it out. Yeah. They could just make 1 or 2 tinkerings to the lineup, and suddenly we look like a World Cup squad. Yeah. There's always that chance. You just hope, especially as a fan, that that'll happen. That'll come to fruition this match.
Yeah, that the switch flips.
Yes.
And with the World Cup nearing, knowing that they have to play better, Mexico can reach such great heights. Maybe like you're saying, maybe they do right here, right now.
Mexico's upcoming 3 matches, their last 3 matches are pretty light in this sense. This will be their toughest match. But they get to be at home hosting USA. They then go away and face El Salvador, I believe. Yeah. And then they come back home and face Honduras. If they can get off on a win against USA, I think they're good to go for the rest of their tournament.
Oh, yeah.
And they're set.
Oh, yeah.
USA, on the other hand, I believe has the hardest schedule remaining in CONCACAF.
Oh, they're screwed. Like, schedule-wise, they have it really tough, which is why I'm saying, that tie against El Salvador, that loss against Panama, those are really coming back to bite them. Because whereas where they dropped those crucial points, Mexico was at least able to grind some sort of better result. That's why Mexico is in this position with a lighter schedule. They have the same points, but the U.S. have to play harder teams. Yeah. So this is where it's going to get really crazy. And I was looking at this from a holistic point of view, literally calculating everything out. I think even if Mexico do lose that game at the Azteca, I still think they go through. Yeah. No matter what. So I view this Clásico game against the U.S. more as purely a pivotal moment for Mexico. Purely a game of pride. Personal pride. We cannot let the U.S. beat us a 4th time in a row. As a Mexican, this cannot happen, especially in Mexico City at the Azteca. Now, this is why this game's going to be so crazy and just there's going to be so much passion, so much heat. It's going to be so entertaining because the U.S. know this. The U.S. have an incredible opportunity to assert crazy dominance. Imagine if you're an American fan, an American player, you've beaten Mexico 3 times in a row, all in competitive matches. You come to the Azteca and you do it one more time. 4 games in a row. If this does happen, which honestly there's a good chance, they're both level on points. Caliber-wise, they're very level. Yeah. If the U.S. actually pulls off a win in Mexico, for me that will officially pass over the torch to the U.S. between that U.S. and Mexico rivalry.
That's the final Infinity Stone.
Yeah. There it is. It's a nail in the coffin. Mexico will no longer be the best out of the 2. No longer. Right now, I can still kind of entertain it, but if the U.S. come to Mexico and win, a tie I'm not going to count. If they win, then I'm pretty much done with Mexico at that point.
Yeah, 4 straight wins, 2 of them being in finals, and then another one being a World Cup qualifier in the U.S. The missing piece is winning at the Azteca, which is that's been the missing piece for U.S. for the past decade now. So if they can do that, then I think even every Mexico fan will be able to at least concede. I
hope they could concede,
or be able to find. It'll be a moment of realization for a lot of fans if that were to happen. I know it's a possibility. I'm not that sure of it. I'm not that sure because even in that USA game, that first half Mexico outplayed USA.
That's true.
It wasn't until the second half that USA
second half was
woke up and fucking took over, and Mexico didn't capitalize on their chances in that first half, and they found themselves down 2-0 by the end of the game, potentially even 3-0. Regardless, I agree. It's gonna be an incredible matchup, and the stakes are going to be it's going to make it so fucking heated. The stakes are
insane, dude,
and just so so entertaining.
I'm actually going to say that Mexico win this game. From a pride perspective, man, Mexico can't lose this game. At the very least, I think they'll tie it.
I think a tie. I think at the very least it's a tie.
At the very least, I think they'll tie it. So that puts the U.S. in a very interesting situation because then they have to go to Orlando and host a team that'll be right behind them, Panama. This game will only matter if Panama get the job done in their first game against Honduras. Must-win game in the Romel Fernandez for Panama. You're at home against the worst team in the group. Get the win. Get the win. I don't care how you do it. I know Panama's been inconsistent. They had a really bad international break last time around, only getting 3 out of 9 points. Not good. We highlighted that inconsistency before where we knew they leak goals, and it really showed in this last international break. The last time Panama had to come to the U.S. and get a result, they lost 4-0 or 4-1. So track record-wise, not looking good. They need to get a win against Honduras. It cannot be a tie.
Because not only will they get closer, I think it actually puts legitimate pressure on a young, inexperienced U.S. squad.
Exactly.
So Panama facing against USA, who, by the way, doesn't have Weston McKennie, who was their best player this past international break.
He popped off in the last break.
Yeah, no,
it was the best I've ever seen McKennie in a U.S. jersey. Dude, he was so impressive. He never lost the ball. He was always just found in space, in tight pockets in the middle of the pitch, and he was just distributing like crazy. And not only that, he was actually an offensive threat.
Yeah,
just
set pieces.
Coming in from behind, bombing into the box when they had maintained offensive possession. I was like, damn. If McKennie plays like this, then the U.S. might have one of the best midfields in the region, just because McKinney's on the field. But he's got a broken ankle or some shit.
Yeah, he's out
for a while, man. So let's just play a little game here. Let's say the U.S. do lose against Mexico, which is very likely considering it's the Azteca. They'll have 21 points. Let's pray to God that Panama actually win. Because if they don't, man, I'm done. I'm done with Panama.
Yeah, that's it for me. That's it.
I
tried, bro.
I tried. I gave it all. I'm there every game cheering them on. They have to do this. There'll be a point behind them with the chance to leapfrog them personally in Orlando. They do that, then, all hell's broken loose. But Panama played Canada in the last game. That's tough. Because no matter how qualified Canada already will be, Canada's always going to compete. They could play a role where they just go in and spoil the party just like the U.S. did to Panama and back in 2014. The U.S., on the other hand, don't have a much easier last game either, though, as they have to go to San Jose and play Costa Rica. At this point, Costa Rica actually could be in this picture.
They could be like a little annoying little elf over here just tugging at your shirt.
Exactly.
They start off hard this first match week by facing Canada. Right? So let's just, if we're just predicting here, let's consider that a loss.
I'm going to consider it a loss.
They lose that game.
So they still have 16 points after the first game.
They still have 16 points. USA loses, though.
Exactly.
Let's assume that.
So they're still on
Panama wins. Costa Rica then faces El Salvador.
That has to be a win, and considering the stakes at hand, it'll be a hell of a game. Costa Rica get that dub. If they really take it to themselves.
And at the same time, USA could potentially tie Panama.
Right.
If they win, that'd be huge. But if they tie or lose, Costa Rica's in.
Exactly.
That last game will essentially be
a final.
A final.
A true final.
Yeah.
So which is crazy.
USA, these next 3 games, every game has already so much pressure.
Yes.
That I don't know if a team of this experience,
it's scary, man,
is built to. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if they got the chops to handle something like this.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because it is the perfect test. Go to the Azteca and see how you do.
Yeah.
If they win that game, then they're through. Like,
Yeah.
there's no doubt in my mind. If they tie or lose that game, then their might will be truly tested against Panama, solely because of the nerves and what will be at stake. Pretty crazy that, considering how poorly Costa Rica started this cycle, that if they just do what they're supposed to do, not even get a crazy result against Canada, if they just do what they're predicted to do, they will have an incredible opportunity to qualify automatically if the U.S. end up in that position.
Yeah.
And even then, if Panama drop points, Costa Rica could actually take them.
Yeah.
And Panama could end in fourth, which is actually very, very possible. So even if the U.S. end up joining Mexico with Canada, the Costa Rica could steal it from Panama.
That would mean if US,
that would mean Panama
if
drop
US
points.
moves in the top 3, then that means Panama drops points.
Exactly.
And that 4th place spot is up for grabs.
Yes.
Man.
And especially considering that Panama will have to play the hardest team in the last group, it could be a point where Costa Rica just have to get some sort of result against the U.S., hoping that Canada just get the job done against Panama. We've said it at like the very beginning. CONCACAF's drama is unparalleled, man. Unparalleled. We could see some crazy shit happen over these next 3 games.
It's already a certainty that the last match, the last round, is going to be chaotic.
Yeah, whether it's the U.S. involved, whether it's Costa Rica involved,
maybe
Panama.
Mexico.
That's the thing. Maybe if the U.S. win that first game, who knows what happens?
Yeah, who knows at that point?
Yeah.